Hey guys, it's Will. Just to let you know, you're about to listen to our first episode of Diamond in the Rough, a podcast where we watch some movies, and it's super exciting. It's featuring me and JJ. This is, of course, a Please Pay Our Rent Studios podcast. We're happy that you're tuning in. A few things first. We did have a little bit of. I messed up the sound. I did mess up the sound a little bit. I was messing around with my papers. My chair's super squeaky, so I'm gonna drown that, wash that in WD-40. However, it's got some really good stuff in it. Please be sure you can find this on anywhere you find podcasts, YouTube. Make sure to follow all the Please Pay Your Rent studios. Streaming on Please Pay or at PPOR Gaming on Twitch. And thank you so much for your support, and I hope you guys enjoy it all. Well, good morning. If it's not morning where you are, then please stop listening to this. Wait 12 hours so that you're able to listen to this in the morning.
What if the 12 hours just takes them from like noon to midnight?
Then I fucked up.
Welcome to Diamond in the Rough, the show where we dive headlong into the worst films have to offer in a desperate attempt to find something not a complete waste of time.
I'm your host, Will.
And I am also here, JJ.
I am physically present due to contractual
Not
obligations.
really because of the COVID. I'm kind of just chilling in my room.
He's in a closet.
Well, that's what I call my room.
Okay, that's right. It's cheap rent, if anything.
Yeah. If you hear a slight echo, that's because his voice is reverberating through the closet door and into my room.
And into your... Quiet in there. We're in search of the next cult classic. We only search through movies that were critically panned and failed at the box office. There are plenty of bad flicks that start out as student films, straight to DVD, but we're looking for movies that had a chance, had a big budget. People actually believed in it, and then it just failed. And then at the end, we're going to give our personal reviews and a little bit of what we think of that movie.
This week's movie is Mr. Rom. According to Rotten Tomatoes, the plot is as follows. Television producer Martha Alston, Ellen DeGeneres' character, gives into parental badgering and begins looking for a nice husband. When she meets Whitman Crawford, he seems to be her dream man. However, when she meets Whit's mother and his crazy ex-girlfriend, Martha begins to have second thoughts. This film is starring Ellen DeGeneres, Bill Pullman as Whitman Crawford, and Joanne Cusack as Inga.
It was directed by Nick Castle Jr. You may know him from his premiere role as Michael Myers in the original Halloween movie. Yep, big actor, fucking Nick Castle.
When I think Looming Dread, I think of Mr. Wrong, so...
Yeah, so it kind of fits. This movie had a budget of $19 million, and it was able to net back a whole $12.8 million. So that's exciting that it lost $6.2 million. It was 6th in the box office. Its opening weekend.
And?
So let's get into it, right?
Right.
This movie starts like any movie, right?
It starts
with I watched the opening credits, so I hope you did as well. But it starts with a fucking star wipe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like a bad star wipe into it, and of course it drops us in the middle of the Mexican prison, right? Like immediately we're in just fucking Mexican prison.
Ellen DeGeneres is like full bridal gown, and I was really hoping it was like a Kill Bill reference. It was not.
No, there's no reference nor inference of there being a good movie or its presence in this whole fucking thing. So she's getting fucking interrogated, and they flash back, which I love flashbacks in every movie. I think it's the ultimate way in a story.
It starts at the end and then tells you how it got there.
Yeah, I think that it's not a crutch ever in movies. I think it is utilized very well every fucking time to make a story better. I really do. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Anyways, then we go to a
So,
wedding.
yep.
Not the
Where her
wedding she learned
family's
about.
making her feel like shit because her sister's getting married and she's not.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh man, she's 31. She's too old."
When her when her mom comes up and she's like, "Yeah, we can't wait till you get married." I found a part in the movie that I did enjoy. She
Mm.
says to her mom, "Quote, geez, mom, did you just find out you have a year to live?" And then the mom just like kind of like wide eye walks away. Uh, and then her friends, of course,
Mm.
laughing at the mom. They
And
laugh
she's
at
like,
people in this movie. They never laugh with them.
"Yeah, yeah." It's a pretty cruel movie, all things considered.
It kicks down. It really does. We have that stupid scene where she complains about her grandma being drunk, and
Mm.
it goes right into she's on the date.
Oh
I
yeah.
like the date scene.
Wait,
I thought it was
before
funny.
that, so she's
Oh,
supposed to be desperate for a man, and this might just be, my big future brain talking, but it kind of felt obvious she was like not into guys at this point, right? Is that just
yeah.
me?
I mean, at some
I,
point they've
I
got
guess
to
like,
be like, why is she just not kissing Bill Pullman? He's hot.
uh, I mean, then again, you could probably just chop it up to bad acting because she was not doing so hot in this movie.
No, which sucks because she was the
Well,
best one in the movie,
yeah,
so it was that bad.
yeah, we'll get into it more as we go further down the plot. The
No,
first,
you're right. You're right. But I mean, so far nothing like really stands out except for obviously like looking back on it. If Alan didn't know she was a lesbian then, she knew it after the movie, like for sure. Like you just tell. Um, yeah. So the fucking restaurant scene with the blind date
at
of
the belly
the
dancer restaurant.
realtor. Yeah, it it starts out with this hip view of a belly dancer, and then all of a sudden, like a random guy's hand just slips $1 into his waistband, and you scroll out and you see that it's her fucking date. That's funny.
Yeah.
So I'll give the movie that.
I mean, it's going for like sort of just making you very uncomfortable humor, which works at first, but uh,
Okay, it works with that one
yeah,
joke, but other than that,
because
I always just feel
this part is like
uncomfortable.
violently uncomfortable, and so
Yes.
the like general awkwardness of the dialogue feels good. Like this is like, oh, everything fits in a way that's like awkward funny. Like you're laughing more out of fear than anything else.
Yes, for sure, for sure. You're like, this is a safe place. This is a safe space, and I don't care where I'm at. Until you realize that you're fucking wrong, and this movie is having a mental attack on you the
Mhm.
whole time.
Yeah, and then
So,
as I recall, the date ends with the fella saying, "Now, can I French kiss you?" Which I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, he's just straight up like, "Can I French kiss you?" I want to talk about this fucking guy. Is It's so annoying because they're like,
mm,
"Oh, we really got to make sure that everyone knows that this guy is for sure sleazy salesman guy," and then they just keep laying into it, and it's just
mhm,
fucking stupid, and each
yeah,
joke just falls flat and flat and flat. But yeah,
I like the
yeah.
"Now, can I French kiss you?" line.
At least
Because
he
it goes again
asked.
with the like concentrated awkwardness. That's again pretty funny for a while.
Yeah, it was a little funny because of how desperate he was, but
Mhm,
it just made me personally more uncomfortable because he was like,
mhm,
"Can I French kiss you?" And it was like,
mm.
uh, "What, bro?" I think it would have been slightly less awkward if he would have just went in for it.
Yeah, if you had just like leaned in for it.
Yeah, if he would have just jumped through her window and just been like,
We'll
"I
get to
live
that
here
part.
now. I live in the closet like JJ does." When did this movie come out? Was it like 1996, right?
Yes, 1996.
1996. Circa 1996. Man jumps through window to impress woman. Uh, What else did you have? What's your next?
My next note is about Walter trying to pick her up.
Okay,
And,
so
hmm,
real quick. So with the salesman scene, there's just a part in it where she says a joke and then he
oh,
goes, "Really?" And then they stare at each other for 15
did
seconds.
you time it?
I timed it.
It's like,
So there's all
yeah.
these weird like awkward pauses in it, and so I just fucking kept timing them, and they added easily a couple more minutes to the movie, and I have no
Yeah,
idea why.
yeah. And like I feel like if that had been trimmed up just a little bit or extended even longer, it would have been funny. But something about the 15-second mark just made the entire thing feel flat. Because like I
Yeah,
feel
they
like that would have
just
been a good line if they had written it better.
no, totally. They just like make it so awkward, and then it's like, ah, this is funny, and then you like mentally go, this is no longer funny.
They're still waiting for it. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, is it
Yeah.
funny? Nope, nope. It ended before it got funny again. Before it got ironically funny.
Audience at home, I want you to turn off all your technology, pause everything right now, and have a 15-second long silence because it is a lot longer than you think it is. Anyway, so boom, she's at the bar, she's drinking, she's boozing up, walks over to the jukebox to play I'm Lonesome by I don't even remember who or whatever it's called, but she's playing that sad song. Um, I think it's fucking awkward how she drops her quarter. She's reaching under the fucking jukebox to try and grab her quarter,
Mhm.
and then fucking Bill Pullman comes up, does not acknowledge her, fucking doesn't even try and like be cautious of her space.
Yeah,
Just fucking blows past
yeah.
this, lady, and then goes straight to the jukebox. He doesn't even look down at her. He just goes without hesitation and just ignores this person crouched on the ground.
And then we have this really long tracking shot of her getting up and like watching, like staring straight at his feet for a while, then slowly tracking his pants seam and going all the way up until it finally reaches his face.
Yeah, yeah, that also took way too long.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. They have almost a full conversation while she's on the ground. Like
Mhm.
she looks up, but she never gets up.
Yeah.
I went back to rewatch the scene because I was like, has she always been on the ground? Is this a fucking joke? She's just on the ground for half of it, like just chilling. No trouble, right? And fucking Bill Pullman doesn't give a shit. He's not like, can I help you up? Or he's not like, oh, and another thing, he's got this fucking cowboy voice.
Yeah. No, it's not
That,
just like any cowboy voice. It's like the vaguely like threatening mayor of the city cowboy voice.
yeah. If you guys don't stop, I'm gonna take out the city pool where all the kids are. Right? Like, and then you're
Right.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and like it's almost like cartoon level villainy, which is good, but I feel like again, this is another thing where they sort of went to the awkward middle ground where if they had gone harder on making him like really just weird and awkward, it might have been funny. But like, I guess the point was we were supposed to
So,
take him seriously for a
JJ,
bit.
something you have to remember is this is a period piece. So in the late 90s, his
Mm.
voice he was doing was considered sexy.
Oh,
A
okay,
super airy cowboy voice, super sexy at the
okay.
time.
I don't know. He still sounded like vaguely threatening the whole time to me.
He sounds vaguely like has he sounds vaguely like he's got fucking asthma the whole time
Yeah.
because he was like,
Hey, the three-fingered dog
"Hello there, Martha."
creeping over
Oh
the
my God,
hill.
the poem.
I
We'll
wrote
get
out
to
the
the poem.
poem.
We'll get to, you wrote it out.
I wrote out most of it as well as I
Okay,
could.
well, you can only read it while jogging in place so that you sound like how he did it.
I will
Okay,
try.
we'll get
I don't
to
remember
it.
where he paused, but
Yeah, it's
he also pauses
you
uncomfortably
just
long
guess.
during the recitation of his own poem. Um,
Oh my God, he reads a poem and it's so garbage. Okay, so fucking boom. So he plays the song she was gonna play, I'm Lonesome, and then she's like, "Oh my God, I love this song. It's like my favorite song." And then he's like, "Is it now?" And then, which is it's so stupid everything that comes out of Bill Pullman's mouth, and I feel bad he had to read that script.
and
But then,
again, I feel like if they had tried hard enough to make it clear it was supposed to be stupid, it would have been better. But like, again, they sort of try to make you believe he's legitimate for a while, and
yeah,
I feel like that's
yeah,
actually a detriment.
I completely agree.
Or
And
or
there,
alternatively, they could have made it like when the switch flips. If it had been more drastic, that would have also worked. But no,
they could have just made him
weird middle
normal
ground.
rather than like over like trying.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
okay,
honestly I feel like they should have just gone in with more confidence to some of the weirdness.
yeah, they just never commit to anything,
There's one
and so
thing
then
they
they're
do, and I
like,
will definitely bring that up when we get to it.
uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. This whole fucking movie, like with all the like random like long
Mm.
silences throughout the whole movie, it's fucking ridiculous. They're like, how long is like the director doesn't know timing at all. He was like, how long's funny? Okay, double that, right? Like he's like, just fucking try. He's like, how long does it take for someone to think that their movie's paused? Okay, do that exact time.
Yeah, get them to like
Which,
check their VCR, and like
yeah,
as they're that way they'll be closer to my experience.
yeah, and then they'll have to watch the fucking rest of the movie thinking that the tape's skipping. And speaking of awkward shit, when he looks down at her and says, "Are you lonesome?" because of the
Mm.
fucking song, and he's trying
Right.
to pick her up, and it's so corny.
Are you
There's
lonesome?
15 seconds, no words, no exchange, no mouth movement. She doesn't look anywhere. She just stares at him for 15 seconds and says, "No." That's it. That's all. That's like half the scene is her just fucking staring at him and being like,
And the other half
"No."
is slowly panning from his feet to his face.
Literally though. Um, and then they dance for like 4 seconds because he was staring at her rather than listening to the song, and that was
Mm.
awkward and not fun. It was just awkward,
Just awkward.
just awkward. I love his own description of his job.
What
I'm
was
an
it?
investor. Oh, what kind of investor? Of like investing stuff. I'm like a like three kids in a trench coat. He
Hmm.
gives a stellar performance of I do stuff, and yeah, they're like trying to make it part of the story, but it just seems so stupid. Like it doesn't feel like it fits in.
Yeah, I mean, do they ever actually explain what he does?
Yes, they do
Okay,
actually.
I missed that.
And then he tells her he's a poet, and I'm like, oh,
Mm.
get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. I'm an investor poet. I've got to publish a book. I hated the pillow talk scene. I didn't. I'm gonna be straight up. There's
Mm.
not a lot of this movie that I liked. I just fucking hated part of it. Yeah, that's the pillow talk, which goes right into the. There's a lot of boring shit that I don't even give a fuck that happens, but it goes with the pillow talk, which is before they fuck in front of the fire, which we'll get to too. But yeah, so they're doing this stupid pillow talk. And, and then the other thing I have written down is she's like having dinner with her family, and she just tells her whole family about this fucking guy and how she had one date. And she's like, "Well, his name's Whitman," and at no point does anyone say that's a last name. That's not a real name. No one's name's
Oh,
Whitman.
which by the way, like, so I thought the twist was going to be like it wasn't a real name or anything, because Whitman, he's a poet, haha. It's, I'm, but like, no, no, that his name's Whitman, and there's another character named Walt, and that bothers me.
Like I said,
Yeah,
Michael Myers
yeah.
from Halloween. He's got a plan. He's got a whole plan. So
There's.
Uh, what else? Yeah, so she tells her whole family about it, which is
Mhm.
kind of douchey. But then, oh, so there's the sex time.
Mhm.
The second time they have the sex scene, this was kind of funny. They have trouble getting each other's clothes off, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that's not what I
most
enjoyed.
of this is all down the hall, and you can barely tell what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, and then you're like, what's going on? But when they get into the room, you can see just down the hallway, and you only see part of the bedroom. You don't get to see where they are, like on the bed.
Mhm.
And then pants just fly across the room, hit the wall,
Yeah,
and then it's just fucking
big old
boot,
thud.
just
Oh yeah.
huge
Okay, I
thud.
like the boot
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Just
Like
the
that part, I
boom.
was like, I'm here for that. I'm okay with this part. This part is funny. Listening to his poem hurt me so much. It
Yes,
really
yes,
did.
the good old poem, diving headlong into cringe. I already used that phrase. Anyways, the three-fingered dawn creep over the hills, and the foothills of one cerebellum bleeds profusely for the lost. One lives in souls unlit by flame. and then a bunch
You're
of
not
weird
being
awkward pauses.
breathy
Just
enough.
insert those, right? Untouched by passion, unknown by others, transported by one to another, places within, without places, we're afraid to cry about yet. Gladly call home. Then he says, likey tea? Like lickety or something?
Call home like
Like,
E.T. And then she laughs. She's like,
oh,
oh,
like E.T. Okay.
yeah.
Sorry,
Call
he said
home,
in like
E.T.'s
one
phone
phrase. He
home.
said like E.T. So like it
Yeah.
sounded like one word.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Still the ship
I didn't get it at
courses
first.
on of the blood-red three-fingered waters, heading homeward like
So
the
are
tired sailor,
these red
homeward
waters, are they
towards
three
love.
fingers deep, like a drink? Is this
I
ocean like a glass of water deep?
well, I mean, it's also the hills were also three-fingered down.
Yeah, everything's got three fingers in his world. I,
Uh,
did he write this or did he steal this? The movie never
I
illustrated that
I
very well.
I like looked it up, and it's not real, but that doesn't necessarily mean he draws it. But I feel like they would have said that if he did,
Yeah, I get you. I get you. He probably wrote half of it.
unless that scene got cut or something.
Oh, yeah, I imagine a lot of scenes got cut. Or none. None would make sense,
I don't
too.
know. By the length of those pauses, I'm not sure they cut anything. Like, I'm not convinced
No,
this
they just
wasn't done in
needed
one
more
take.
time. But you know what they did? They cut out, like, they overdid it. So with all the pauses that actually were in the movie, it was like 15 minutes longer. And then they're like, you guys don't have to do this. Actually, in fact, please do not do this. And they're like, okay, we'll keep a third of them.
All right. A third. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, just make them short. No.
When he went through this poem, it sounded like it was his third take. Like Bill Pullman the first time was like reading off paper. The second time he was like, could you remind me what my line is? And then the third time he was like, no, I can
Yeah, I
make it
think
through
that's
it.
why.
I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And then he's just making up shit. And they're like, that's not the line. And then the director's like, we just gotta get through. We gotta get through this day. We're almost done. I've only
It
got the
took us
camera
five
guy
hours
for
to get the
another
beat scene
hour.
down correctly. We gotta.
Yeah, exactly. I'm supposed to let the children in this movie. There's actually no children in this movie.
Hmm.
There's no children.
Really?
Not even as extras. No.
Okay.
I guess I don't know when they were filming it, but union rights and shit. I guess. Yeah, not even as. Anyway, it's just a weird fun fact. Okay.
But wait, those two. What?
Yeah.
What were those two then?
What were what two?
There were
Besides
two
those
kids.
two.
Okay.
Besides those two kids, there were no
Okay.
kids.
That's
Maybe
fair.
in the Mexican village. We'll get to it. Besides that, wow, I'm an idiot. I totally forgot about the best part of the movie. Anyway, we'll get to it. Inga, the ex-girlfriend of Bill, calls her, threatens her.
Yep.
Nothing of note.
I mean, other than we've established Inga's there and she's crazy.
Yeah, Inga's there and she's crazy.
Is it the gas station scene?
What?
Is it the gas station scene next?
No, there's a lot of stuff in between.
Okay.
I wrote down a couple more things. First off, she makes this joke, whether if it's funny or not, I enjoy it, and I actually like this joke, and I giggle. I giggle when I hear it. Walter, her personal assistant, who's in love with her, who at first I thought was the psycho murderer, and I was like, oh, there he is. There's the bad guy. And then it turned out no, so that guy's awful. He gets her like car detailed, right? So it gets all cleaned and shit. And then he's like, oh, they didn't have your favorite scent, like Hawaiian Dream or something stupid. And then he's like, so I got you pina colada. And then she's like, oh, great. Now my car will smell like an alcoholic beverage. Which I think is funny and I don't care. So fight me. Fucking meet me in the streets. I'll take you down any day.
That's 6 feet apart, sir.
6 feet apart. Punch me. She takes Whitman. This is right before that gas station scene. She takes Whitman to meet her family. It's probably been a week, maybe 2 days since they first met. It's probably something crazy short. And this motherfucker brought gazpacho. Like no one does. Here's cold soup. There you go, guys. This is my favorite potluck
This
piece.
is how I want to introduce myself to you.
I see you guys made fried chicken. See, you guys got Costco. I think you guys got KFC chicken. Thanks so much for dinner. Here's gazpacho. And then they like make a big deal out of it too, which I don't understand. It's like the dad's like, it was the best gazpacho. It was probably the first time he's ever had that. Just who brings soup?
Cold soup, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like that feels like that's gotta be an insult in some culture, right?
It's an insult in my household. If you come in here with that shit, I'll smack it out of your hand. I swear. That's weird. It's just weird, though. It didn't make sense.
No, totally weird.
It did not belong in the movie.
Yeah.
And then they're driving out of the house, and Whitman kind of dunks them.
We skipped the charades.
No, that's not yet.
Oh.
That's not until later. Yeah.
Oh, the other family, right? Sorry.
Yeah, the other family. I was talking about, they meet Marta's family.
Right.
So, anyway, he's like, Whitman, he's fucking dunks on her family. He says, yeah, I mean, they were alright, like, whatever. I just felt like I wasn't being myself.
Okay, I guess.
It was okay, I guess. It wasn't that bad of a day. And so he, so anyway, he then, Martha, like, turns to him, and she goes, well, you should just be yourself. That's okay. And this is the point.
Really?
Really? Yeah. So this is like the 45-minute point in which the whole movie changes, and it no longer becomes a bad comedy. It becomes a bad horror movie. This movie scared me more times than it made me laugh. I do also want to bring that up. But he drops the cowboy accent. First thing. Drops it.
Mm.
And he just like does a different look, and he just tries really hard to make himself seem like such a Mr. Hyde to Jekyll.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get to the best scene of the whole movie, and that's the gas station scene.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so they go in, and he's like, hey, steal his beer. And she's like, what? No. And he's like, no, just steal it. And that's about the next 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. I really want to bring up the fact that the black gas station, or the black liquor store owner, he goes, how's it going, Holmes? And he made like a big deal out of it. And it was pretty fucked up. And it was just awkward for everyone. And even the store owners like giving him a look like, I think this guy just did that. Oh, so when actually, this is pretty funny. I had to go back and listen to this, but when they drive up to the liquor store, as soon as it pans up to show like Palm Liquor Store or whatever, it plays like some like mariachi, some like Mexican like pop music or something, and I was just like, that's not exactly culturally appropriate. It was just solid. Yeah, it was a Reba music. That's what it is. That's what I wrote down. Yeah, so he calls him Holmes twice, actually. I wrote it down because I thought it was funny.
Again, like I said, they're going for violently uncomfortable, but they didn't pull it off right.
No, they made me feel violently uncomfortable. So
they're going for comedy. Accidentally went full Twisted Nerve. For those of you that don't know what Twisted Nerve is, it's a horror movie in which a kid pretends to be autistic so he can like try to fuck a girl. Very, very violently uncomfortable.
Highly recommend. Jeez. That's a weird movie. Oh god. Okay. Now
sorry, back to throwing beer down Ellen DeGeneres' coat.
Yeah, so the liquor store owner realizes that they're stealing beer, and because that's Whitman's idea of fun. And he runs after them with a bat. And the thing I remember the most is he almost hit Ella DeGeneres.
Mhm.
Like he was swinging that shit, and he almost hit her. He hit in the mirror of the car, cracked it right in. I like that part where he almost just brained her with a bat. Very different movie.
I like
If he
the part
had,
where the movie almost ended early and we could just go home.
and then it was a snuff film,
Oh no.
and
Oh
then
god,
they
and then it just
convicted
goes
all the
full twisted
people.
nerve. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. So the car switch was stupid. He like switches cars later, and it was
mhm.
dumb, and it made no sense, and I couldn't tell the difference between the convertibles. It was just a different color, just a dark
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I almost forgot the best part of the movie. So they're
You keep
driving away
saying
from the
that.
liquor store. She's all uncomfortable, and of course, Whitman stole beer. So what's he gonna do? He's gonna drink beer while driving. No one ever brings up the fact that he was drinking and driving.
Man, I feel like I can just be myself around you.
I should be myself around you. And then he's like, fine, if this makes you so uncomfortable, pours it out. And then he just fucking throws this half empty can and just beams this old homeless man. And I think about this moment a lot. I really do. Because he just fucking whipped it and hit that fucking poor homeless guy.
So, anyways, you might be misunderstanding what's going on, thinking that this is funny. It's not, because no one reacts properly to what's going on. Like,
No.
in isolation, it's very funny to hear described, but like the problem is mostly Ellen's acting, I would say, because she reacts the exact same way to like the dude saying, "Hey, can I get a French kiss you?" to like trying to steal beer to even worse things we get to later on. It's like if you're gonna go for like the absurdist comedy route, you gotta have like someone reacting like a human would, or at least changing their reaction somewhat, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's like, "Oh, you're still, hey, stop stealing beer." Beans homeless man, "Hey, stop being homeless man." It's basically,
Stop hitting homeless. Don't do that. That's bad. And then they just like underplay everything. I'd
yeah,
be horrified
yeah.
if that happened. Or I'd be the one doing it, like
Well, the
either
worst thing,
way.
like, she's exactly as horrified to him being a homeless man as she was to Walter trying to pick her up earlier.
She was
That's the
almost as
problem.
horrified as him stealing beer as she was him changing cars.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's why I hate that scene the most.
Like throughout the entire movie, she's basically panicked, but the same level of panic. So it's
Literally,
basically the
though.
same as not having emotion at all because it's just flatlined.
Yes, yes. Uh, they meet his mom, and
Mm.
she comments on her birthing hips and goes, "Ah, yes." And she pulls out the fucking opera glasses. Oh, yes, you've got nice birthing hips and an adequate bosom, which would be funny if they had done a good job. So
Right.
instead, it was not funny. It was just
Mm.
weird. Honestly, I think we could have done a better job.
I mean, like a lot of the material's decent. It's just the commitment that's really lacking for most
Yeah,
of it.
seriously. And it's not even all of the actors fucking it up.
Yeah, yeah. Like
It's
so,
a lot of them, though.
Bill, Inga, and Whitman, I thought were really great in some
Bob.
scenes. Oh, Bob, right?
Bob.
Was
Yeah,
Bill? I think Bill might have been the actor's name.
maybe.
But yeah,
Yeah, but Bob, for sure.
we haven't gone to that yet,
Bill
though. So.
Pullman is. Anyway. Yeah, so they meet the mom and they play charades, and I didn't care for this scene. Play with
We
their
do get some
spinning.
lovely more, trying to fit in more uncomfortable stuff with the hugs and, of course, the frogs.
Yeah. The frogs?
Yeah, because that's how good old Whitman refers to the French as. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
I knew it had something to do with the frogs.
It had something to do with the frogs. That's awesome. Yeah. Fucking. Oh, man. Whitman goes in for that hug with his mom, and he just gets, he just gets handfuls. Like a
Oh yeah,
legitimate
oh yeah, and
handfuls
they're
of
like
person.
moaning also. They're like,
Yeah.
mm.
Uh, it's. Ugh.
But again,
It was funny
just a
for
little
two
too
seconds,
long.
and it kept going. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh God. I was like, Bill
Okay, we
Pullman's
got
getting
it.
off
You
to this.
you can
Like,
stop now.
can we please
Oh God.
stop? Yeah, I legitimately believed he was into it. Like, that's how Good acting, bad choice. Bad choice to do the good acting then and nowhere else. So
Or, just like cut it earlier, direct it to be shorter.
yeah,
There are a
when
couple ways to fix that. They chose none of them.
well, the one way is directing, and they chose to not do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the restaurant, she has him pull over at a coffee shop to try and
Mhm.
break up with him. It's like a
Mhm.
diner, but what I do want to bring up is it's literally called coffee shop restaurant. They're like,
Did I
what should
miss
we
that?
call it? Well, we don't want our audience to get confused.
Or coffee shop restaurant?
Coffee shop restaurant sounds good. Let's do that one.
But yeah, she tries to dump him. He's like, "Well, you think I wouldn't break my finger for you?" And then they spend up like too long building up to the scene where he inevitably breaks his finger.
Well, he was proving his love.
Right, right. Um,
Oh,
and when it happens, like horror music kicks in, but like the way the few people who notice in the shop are reacting in Ellen, they're acting like it's a comedy, but whoever is doing the music seems to think it's supposed to be frightening, and
yeah.
it's like you kind of pick one because it'd be like, I mean, imagine if like fucking Tom gets smashed with like an iron in Tom and Jerry, right?
Yeah.
And then the
But
fucking
that was
Halloween theme
horror
kicks
movie.
in, and you're like, what? What's going on?
Oh my god, is that cat dead? Oh dear
Is
god.
Tom dead? Did they just kill Tom?
They just killed Tom. Jerry's a horrible rat. He's a horrible person. I don't like him at all. He's not funny. He's a monster. He
Jesus
killed
Christ.
Tom. What the fuck? So when he breaks his finger, which is a gruesome scene,
Mm,
you never get to see the finger, which I think is kind of lame because
yeah.
come on, dude, you guys could have done it. You could have faked that. But she hands
Mm,
him a napkin, as you do when
yeah.
someone breaks a bone. You're like, oh, here's a
Oh,
napkin.
gee, dab up that bone.
Yeah. What? What? I'll cover that up. People might see you. Oh, you're embarrassing
If
me.
someone asks what happened to your finger, tell them you fell down the stairs.
Tell them you spilled something on it and you're just wiping it clean. Yeah, tell them you fell down the stairs. Nice. So then
And then it
she
does
gets home.
basically the same thing I said about like the the editor director seems to think the scene's scary, but the actors seem to think the scene's funny. When she gets home and is immediately
Yes.
met with Inga shining a flashlight in her face,
Yes.
like again more doo 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 piano noises, and then
Yeah.
hi is just the reaction. It's just hi, how's it going?
Well, I mean, you got Bob. Bob's
Yeah,
the best character,
I
actually.
I honestly love Bob and Inga because both their actors are just hamming it up in every scene. Like
Which
I feel like they were the only ones that like they understood their characters very well. I imagine.
I think they would have been funny if literally anyone but Ellen
Yeah.
and Bill Pullman had been their fucking choice for this movie. Because they're doing a good job, but it's not funny because nothing
Mhm.
around them's reacting to it like it's funny.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
because like they're
reacting to it
getting
like,
no selled the entire time.
literally, though.
Which
Literally.
we will get to my favorite scene eventually, and I do need to talk about that. But
Which
I also
time?
appreciate Joanne Cusack's villain voice. She sounds like if Jesse were taken over by Zurg. Uh,
No. Yes. Yes. Uh, so Bob's this guy who's just like in love with her, and he's just kind of along for the ride. Which is,
mhm,
I actually really like their storyline. I would have rather the movie been about them than
mhm.
it was about Martha.
Yeah, it's a
But
pretty fucked up relationship because
it's
so
super
Bob's like in love
abusive.
with her, but Inga's still like in love with
Whitman.
Whitman. Yeah, and so he's like, oh man, these people are hurting her feelings. I'm gonna try to help her get back with him.
He's
It's
like,
like,
I don't know.
what?
I just do it because I love her.
Yeah,
But
okay, this is some next level sense stuff.
but they ambush her, and she's like, "Don't you
Oh,
be with
I do like Bob's introduction. So English shines a flashlight in her face. She's like, "Get her, Bob!" And Bob stands up, like, "Hi, I'm Bob."
Hi, I'm Bob." In case you're wondering who was Bob, you found him. I like to imagine Bob isn't short for anything. I imagine he was named Bob.
I, I mean, we don't have any proof otherwise.
I might as well assume.
Although Going along
Oh,
with Walt Whitman, if his name were Robert, that would make, Robert Crawford, which is worth mentioning.
well, that is true. That is true. Lot of poets reference.
Yeah, it's very clear where they got their poetry inspiration when they have a guy break his finger in a coffee restaurant.
Yep.
Yeah, clearly, it's very heavily inspired.
Clearly.
The
That's how I think poet investors act in restaurants. In coffee shop restaurants. Like the coffee shop restaurant.
Yeah, the one and only coffee shop
The one
restaurant.
and only coffee shop. They spent a lot on that sign. They really did. It was a pretty sign. Had a lot of lights and shit. So they
Oh,
ambush Martha. What's up?
mhm. No, it's part of the ambush.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So this is completely unrelated, but at one point Joanne Cusack calls Ellen fish tank, and I had to Google if Finding Nemo had came out yet. It had not.
Mm, mm. So it's not a reference to that. No.
I'm very confused why she called her fish tank.
I thought it was an inappropriate joke, and then I realized the movie. Oh, I wrote down how many times they cursed in this movie. They said like three. Oh, well, there are three instances. Two of the times it was a black person saying shit. The other time it's Ellen DeGeneres saying dick a lot. And
Oh
at
yeah.
first I didn't think it was like her just saying dick. I thought she was like the
Oh yeah,
short.
because she was
The
calling
short.
Private Dick. Or shit, what's his name? Dick.
No,
Okay, yeah. So well, a private detective is called a Dick. So yeah.
that she's just calling a dick.
Yeah, well, she calls him a dick, which is an adorable type of antelope, by the way.
Oh, you Googled a lot of things.
No, I just knew that offhand.
Okay. She was calling him a dick for sure.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, but she called him you dick.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, you're a dick of a dick.
yeah.
Yeah. So they ambush her, they cut up her couch
Oh
because
yeah.
Inga's a 12
And,
year she's like an 8-year-old.
mhm. No, don't cut my couch. And
Not
again,
the
she has the
couch.
same level of
Ah, dang
frustration that she
it.
does with literally everything else in the movie.
Uh, Literally. And then she's like, "Do you want gum in your hair?" And she's like, "No, I would not like gum in my hair." And then she's like, "Here's gum." And she puts gum in her hair, which
Yeah. And then it just like smash cuts to Snapple or like to just her in her office with jaunty music playing. And then I think Snapple product placement, if I remember correctly.
okay, it does not just snap to, it doesn't just change to her office. They're like, "We're gonna go. And we took snacks from your kitchen."
Oh yeah.
And he's
Okay.
like, "Yeah, we
Yeah.
grabbed some Snapples."
But my point is like
They're
this scene
snap.
that's very confusingly either supposed to be comedic or scary. When that scene ends, not necessarily that moment, it
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
straight into just happy, like, oh, it's the intro of a high school movie type music.
Yeah, and she's not even like uncomfortable at first.
Yeah.
Although there is some great FedEx product placement.
I guess we got to the commercial break of the movie.
And then, yeah, I guess so.
Because then like someone's like, oh, you also want to get a Snapple from the fridge?
Well,
No,
earlier,
that was at Bob and Joe and
Inga,
Inga were like, yeah, we took some Snapples from your
we took some
fridge.
Snapples. Well, earlier in the movie, what happens is straight up
Mhm.
someone's like, "Oh, you have flowers from 1-800-Flowers," and I was like, "That's weird to
Oh
just
yeah.
mention 1-800-Flowers." That's what we should keep track of from now until the end of like the podcast is product placement. I think we should have a product placement tally, and that's how we should rate how bad movies are.
Uh,
So yeah, so they just boom. He sends her creepy, murderous faxes.
mhm.
Those were pretty spooky,
Pretty
but they
dope.
had funny music in the background, so that was great. And then her parents call her while she's at work, and they say, "Hey, can you house sit for us?" And she says, "Fuck, yes, I can house sit for you
So she's trying to get
immediately
away.
tonight." So, like, like 14, 16 hours later, whatever, like
Mm.
nighttime.
Oh, we
She's
should probably cover earlier. So during the fireplace sex scene, right? She told good old Whitman that that like once when she was a kid, a clown
oh
went to their
yeah,
house, and she thought it was like a friend sent from God. Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So
So
anyways, tell them more about the house sitting.
yeah, so she's house sitting, and we can assume that she's in some kind of guest bed or her old bedroom because
Hmm.
it's not like a full size bed that her parents would sleep in. But she's on the second story of her parents' house, right? She's just fully asleep. And then knock on the window, and then she turns, wakes up, and sees who's outside. But of course, Whitman, he's knocking on the window like a knight in shining armor, or how he's dressed as a clown in shining stilts, which was
Yeah, he's
just
wearing one of those good
terrifying.
old long boy circus outfits, so he can talk to her on the second floor.
I took screen caps of him as a clown.
I'm glad we were both inspired by Whitman's art.
Yes. So I will be sending you that because I think about it a
Thank you.
lot, like a lot, a lot. I'm gonna put it in your chat right now. That's actually how important this is. Thank God you reminded me. There you go. And he's like kind of pointing up at her, but
Here's looking at you, kid.
it shows how good yet bad at listening he is. She's like, Whitman, what are you doing? And he's like,
He's like, I'm a
everybody
friend from
loves
God,
clowns.
remember?
Yeah, friend from God. Everyone loves clowns. And he's just like, look up Whitman Crawford clown Mr. Wrong, and it'll probably come up because it's just horrifying. And then he's like, let me show you my love dance. And he goes, G, 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 G. And he just waves his arms like a train forward and backward. And at this point, I was like shitting myself. And I was like, is he gonna come for me? Is this creepy clown, is he haunting me? He's fucking on stilts looking at a
Is this like
two-story window.
Ringu?
And he's going, like, is this the horror movie? Like, is this when it starts? Is he gonna kill her with the stilts? He, uh, he then falls 2 stories and somehow doesn't break all the bones in his back and slip a vertebrae, but
Well, of course
whatever.
not, because he is either
Yeah.
A, a slapstick cartoon character, or B, Michael Myers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the director himself was Michael Myers.
Nice.
Yeah, that's weird. So I want to bring up the fact that first things first, he
Mm,
knew where she was in the house,
Yeah,
right?
he
Because
knew she was gonna be on the second floor, so he could bring his clown stilts,
he either had to rent them,
or he just had them.
unless he had them, right? And you can't just rent those at night, like, or he bought
Yeah,
them.
like this
But
was premeditated, quite
this is
obvious.
premeditated. Like he knew hours before he would do this, which is terrifying. Like that's not a funny thing. That's not. It's just scary.
That's why they call it a black comedy, because
I
it's neither
I
horror nor
guess
comedy.
no horror nor comedy. They couldn't commit,
Yeah,
which was
basically.
yeah. I think it's just super awful. And he knew what room she was in. He just
Yeah.
fucking knew.
Yeah, so that he was probably watching outside. That means,
Oh God. In his
what? Like, how else would he know? He would have
dress
to have
as a
been like
clown with
spying on
clown
her
makeup
for a
on
while.
with his murder stilts.
And he probably would have had to have done so. Two things: either he came with the stilts and then did a stakeout, or he did a stakeout, left and got the stilts once he realized she was sleeping on the second floor.
Either one is just as bad. I like to imagine him holding the stilts like it's a longboard and just fucking like following her home from work. Dressed as a clown with no one
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
shit. Yeah, so she files a police report and they just fucking do nothing. They don't give a shit and they're like, sounds like he's trying to hit on you.
Oh yeah.
And then that's when she gets the PI, the personal investigator, to
The dick.
investigate in him. And my issue with the PI is he's trying way too fucking hard to be a mobster,
Mhm.
right? Like it's like,
Right.
okay, we get it. Like whatever, dude. Uh, do do do
I feel like they should have
do.
like done noir investigator for him personally.
That's what you would have done. I'm glad to know what you would have done. The Then her and Walter, her personal assistant,
Mhm.
go to the opera, and I thought that was a stupid reference because it's about some young guy getting with an older woman who was out of
Yeah.
his league, which is
Well,
it's
I
stupid.
mean, so he brought her to this play trying to convince her to dump Whitman for himself. He's like, oh man, it's complete coincidence that this play's about an older woman
Yeah,
leaving her lover. Yeah. And he
which
leans into it really hard. And again, a little too hard or not hard enough in order for it to be funny.
yeah, it was creepy actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, because
Yeah.
he leans into her and he whispers, "You're perfect," or "You look perfect," right? And it's just like,
Mm, don't touch
the
me.
and then when they're in either when it's over or intermission, Women confronts them in white tux, and they spend
Mm,
time to stare at his butt because basically later she yells, his butt got bigger, right? Because he got butt implants,
mm,
which was random and not that funny. It was just weird.
mm.
Like
Well,
it's a
also,
funny
this is the
joke, but it was
point
just
at which Whitman starts representing some of the escalation I would have liked to see more of in the movie. Because, like, he starts hamming it way the fuck up now.
yeah.
I like really cheesy hammy stuff. And so, like, he just, like, everything, every word out of his mouth is uncomfortable. I see in my notes, I specifically wrote down the part where he says lover. He wrote lover, like,
He
almost saying
says
a
it a
B instead of a
lot.
B. It was so hard and, like, forced. And, man, I was, like, sweating in that scene. I was like, oh no,
Oh, you got chills.
no. It's like, oh Jesus Christ, this guy is creeping me out. And then of course Ellen reacts like, what?
Yeah.
Why? You can't do that. That's bad. The exact same way she reacted to the beer. I'm like, oh, damn it.
You're like, oh, I could have worked out, but
Yeah.
the
And then she faints, which didn't really feel earned because again, she's doing the same voice as earlier.
yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah.
The personal investigator finally gets back to her. She's back in his office.
Mhm.
And they find out Whitman's a trust fund baby, right? So he doesn't work.
Right.
He's not like an investor. His mom just sends him a lot of
Yeah.
money.
I mean, that's an investment. Just
Yeah, and
invest in
the
parents'
one thing
love.
I wrote down that Inga came up in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she, excuse me, I just burped a little bit there. Oh, I'm so sorry.
We gotta start the podcast over.
We gotta podcast over. No more podcasts. Sorry,
No,
guys.
no, we're restarting. We're going back to the beginning.
No, Mr. Oh God, we've been recording for almost an hour,
I
not
think a
including
little.
our warm up.
Oh, right.
Regardless, so fucking what happened? Yeah, so Inga's known for she tried to assassinate Stevie Nicks. They say rock icon Stevie Nicks. I just wanted to bring that up because that is funny,
But yeah, yeah.
and that it only adds to Inga's character. And then there's another 1-800-Flowers product placement.
Yep.
And then I wrote about the telegraphs because Whitman sends a bunch of gifts. He sends telegraphs to
Mm.
basically get her fired or quote suspended indefinitely or on vacation time for a
Mhm.
while because he pretends to be her and says, "Hey, lick my butt" to a bunch of guests that were supposed to be on the morning talk show. He sent her parents on a cruise,
Mm.
which, yeah, as them tying it into something else seems like kind of an
Yeah.
afterthought. So she's running around terrified. The PI stops her outside her house when she's trying to leave and like run away to Mexico with her parents. He tells her that women paid him off basically.
Mhm.
And then
He's
this
on
part,
Whitman's side now. And
yeah.
shit starts going like batshit insane about now.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be able to tell based on the actor. Yeah, the private detective is also not super good in this. Not gonna lie.
No,
It's like
not
I'm
at
with
all.
Whitman now. It's like I wish he had like screamed that or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and he slaps her, which I thought
Mm.
was unneeded.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay.
And she
I
runs
get what you're going
away.
for, but
Yeah, I
don't.
get it, but it's just so out of place. Like this whole
Yeah.
movie's just awkward.
Mm.
The she runs away from him and then gets boom beamed by a one eight
Yeah,
hundred
immediately hit by a
flowers
truck. She
truck.
gets sent into an anime. No, she gets sent to a hospital.
No,
Uh,
not anime. Yeah, so
Where's
the
my
hospital.
isekai that's about Ellen DeGeneres getting sent to a fantasy world?
That's my favorite part of it. My favorite is when
I mean,
Ellen
it kind of happens
DeGeneres.
because shortly after, because it's not that much longer when they just sort of show up in Mexico.
Yeah, my favorite part is when Ellen DeGeneres falls down the well, and then she realizes when she climbs out that she's actually in feudal Japan, and she hangs out with that fox spirit.
Yeah, and then she becomes like hilariously overpowered.
Yeah, and she has got a bow and shit, and that didn't make
Mhm.
sense. And it took her a while to become good
Oh
at
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but
I've seen
yeah,
Finding Dory too.
Finding
The best
Dory
part
2
is
is
no one at our audience can say I'm wrong because no one else saw Finding Dory.
just you. Just you. So, in the hospital scene, she's got an engagement ring on.
Mm.
Whitman sings "I Want to Know What Love Is,"
Oh yeah,
which would have been funny. It would have, but it wasn't.
yeah.
He plays it in his car a bunch too, which is also something to note. Yeah, she's too drugged to tell anyone that he is kidnapping her, essentially.
Yeah, so she tries to walk out of the hospital like while still in full cast.
She rips out
Like,
that IV.
yeah. Oh Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. She's on the second story. Did want to bring that up, and then climbs out of her window.
She forgot
Uh,
her clown stilts.
she forgot her clown murder stilts. She jumps into a car driving by. She's like, "Help, help, get me in!" And then some guy's like, "Oh, get in!" And then it's
Mm.
Bob and Inga.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, and
And
this
Bob
is
apologizes.
yeah. Sorry about that. Don't be nice to her, Bob.
Don't be nice to her, Bob.
Just like evil Jesse screaming at Bob the whole time.
Yeah. And then this is when the movie turns into a different entire movie, and I've
Yeah,
actually got like seven pages
okay,
of
I love
notes
the
on
ant
it.
scene. I unironically
The
love
witch
this.
scene, the ant scene, yeah.
Yeah, so like
They drive out in the
basically what
middle of
happens in this
nowhere.
scene is Inga's like, "You're gonna suffer for taking my man. Bob, bring the ants." And so she like starts, and so they like pour honey on her face, and she starts going on about how the ants are gonna eat her face, and then she grabs the jar, and they're all dead. And
Yeah.
she's like, "What the hell?" Bob's like, "Well, you said make them hungry." Like, you didn't feed them at all. They're dead, Bob.
He's like,
And
"I'm
so they're like going
sorry."
to full supervillain thing. Ellen's tied down to like a mattress now, like in sacrifice
Yeah.
mode, right? Um, and so Jesse's just like, okay, fuck it, we're just gonna. Oh, God damn it, Inga. Sorry,
It's okay, it's
the voice is just
okay.
like, oh, whatever, just give me the knife, we'll just cut her heart out. I want it, and Bob's like, I
Yeah.
don't know, that sounds. Do you really want to do this? She's like, no, Bob, I wanted to use the ant.
Bob, you're forcing me to
Anyways,
Aztec her, all right?
yeah,
This
well,
isn't
so it
my
looks like
fault.
a spaghetti western where like the natives are like, ooh, the evil natives are about to sacrifice the innocent girl to the gods or whatever, and then
Yeah.
fucking Whitman shows up doing his John Wayne impression again, and it just
God, I hate
like a
him when he
full
does that.
on spaghetti western parody, and I love it because like all of them are hamming it up so hard right now. They're like, it's no, not you, anyone but you. Is like, put her down,
Well,
or you're gonna have to face me. He
actually,
has a fucking lever action rifle too.
when they first see him, they're happy to see him, both of them, because Whitman shows up and he's like,
Mhm.
"Stop right there," and then they're like, "Hi, Whitman,"
Yeah,
and Inga's like,
well,
"Whitman," right? And then he's got the
mhm.
fucking, like you said, lever action rifle.
Yeah, and he's like in a cowboy getup.
Yeah, yeah, he changed clothes and
I
made it
wish
in
the rest of this
time.
movie was this cheesy. Like it wouldn't have sold well, sure, but it would have gone to like a cult following probably.
Probably.
But yeah, and so it's like, the whole John Wayne saves the girl from the Indian scene, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Except he fucking shoots her.
Yeah.
He actually like hit her in the arm. And
Don't
then
worry, we'll get that patched up.
and, and then she's like, "Ah, shit." And then they walk away defeated.
Yeah. And it just pulls out, you just sort of see them casually moving off screen. Like, yeah, see ya.
They're like,
Bye,
"Dang
Bob.
it. Oh
Bye,
man."
Whitman.
Yeah. It's like Team Rocket, like we're blasting off again. Except they fucking like he shot her in the arm.
Yeah. I'm like, man, I can't believe this.
And Bob like didn't really give a shit. Which if the other two had reacted differently, it would have been funny that he didn't care. And he was like, "This happens
Mhm.
all the time," but no.
Yeah.
And then Whitman like picks her up and throws her in an RV.
Yeah, she's like, it was basically, I'm here to save you, do not resist.
Oh, I do want to bring up that when he did the gun trick, it was super cool.
Mhm.
And even Inga says,
Again, I love
oh,
that scene.
that was bitchin', right? She says that was
Yeah.
bitchin'. But he reloads twice, so actually he wouldn't have been able to fire. Anyway,
No, man, double bullet.
yeah. Actually, I wrote down Inga's dressed as a pirate, and it doesn't make sense to me. Like she's just like in a fucking pirate
Yeah,
outfit.
you're right.
So there's that. The RV scene. I
Yep.
actually really like the RV scene.
Women takes what was Ellen's character's name again? Martha
Martha.
takes Martha to the RV, and
And she sees her kids. No, he's like, "Here's our kids," and she's like, "What the
what?
fuck?"
You
But she
have
doesn't say
kids?
fuck, but
Like
you know what I mean. And she's like, "What?" And he's like,
our
"Yeah,
our
so we
family's
can
gonna be
train to get our own
legendary.
kids." Go ahead.
No, yeah, it's basically just like I believe he also says, it's not just my kids; they're our kids. Our family's gonna be legendary someday.
Yeah. It's gonna be legendary. But
Oh yeah, and also the kids have guns.
the kids do
That's
have
very
guns.
important.
Well, she tries to leave, and she's like, "Come on, kids!" And then they're like, "No, mama!" And then they pull guns on her.
Yeah, they both have a gun.
Yeah.
The girl had like a Luger or something.
What?
Like it wasn't like a normal gun you'd see.
Yeah.
It was like a World War II gun.
Yeah. They mention it later how they were the maid's kids, or
Mm.
maybe right then. But it was kind of funny that he stole the maid's kids. The point the guns at her. Okay, this scene bugs me the most, and it troubles me the most. Whitman drinks chocolate syrup while he's driving.
Oh yeah, that was worse than the beer.
It was worse than the beer, and no one reacts to it. It wasn't. He didn't
Yeah,
ham it up, so I didn't think it was funny, and it
yeah,
just didn't even seem like it was meant to be funny.
yeah. It's just like it's another one of those things. Like, wait, is this supposed to be like characterizing him as weird and unsettling, or am I supposed to be laughing? Like,
Yeah. The next thing I
because
have
you
written
feel at
down,
both.
yeah, literally. The next thing I have written down is no border patrol. There was no border patrol.
Well, keep in mind the border patrol is to keep you out of the states.
That's
Not
right. That's right. My bad. I forgot. Uh, he reveals that he drugged her because he offered her water and she drank it, and then he was like,
yeah.
"Oh, it was chamomile, teal, and LSD."
Yeah.
The kids. So
Mm.
I didn't realize at first, but I went to like relook at the scene to see if there was anything good, and the kids are
Mm.
playing like right next to an oil well. There's like a whole oil well just working in the background. And I was like, how did I not notice that? That's actually really loud. And like half the scene is that sound. Yeah. Uh, they. He says, oh, she says, I'm going to kill you because he put her on LSD and she's like hostage.
Right.
And then he says, I'll have to love you as a ghost and you'll have to get dreads like Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh yeah.
Like, obviously not understanding that movie. I thought it was kind of funny, but then I was like, that's not funny. That's a shitty joke. While in the rest stop bathroom, she uses the rest stop bathroom phone to call
Hmm.
Walter. It bugs me because there's a phone in the restroom
Right.
at this like
I
shitty rest stop. I've never ever once seen a payphone in a fucking rest stop bathroom. I
I
know there's
mean, when
like
was the last
not a
time you saw
lot.
a payphone? To be fair.
I was in Tucson.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, putting in the bathroom seems odd because like
Right? She couldn't.
what? Because like someone's gonna make shitty noises because you're. I mean, first of all, you're in the like truck stop bathroom. Someone's shooting drugs in there, right?
No, literally
Like
though.
that's why you cross the border.
Yeah. So Walter can't hear her because he's on the payphone, but when she picks it up, she's like, "Walter, you gotta buy a gun. You gotta get here. I'm going to somewhere in Mexico." And then he
Hmm.
can't hear like her at all, and he can't hear any of it. So then they just
Hmm.
drive to Mexico.
Yeah.
I
Where
do
basically a
appreciate the
shotgun
name,
wedding.
which
Hmm?
is Saint. I do appreciate the name of the church that they're getting married at, which is The Church of Saint Margaret of the Goats. I do appreciate that. I felt like it was quite accurate. It's a good, solid little church name. The choir of kids singing as she's walking down the aisle
Oh
are
God, what were they
singing.
singing again?
They were singing "I Want to Know What Love Is," and
Oh,
it sounded like a Mexican Kids Bop version of it.
it did.
It was funny. I'll give them that.
Yeah, the whole choir.
Yeah. She asked the pastor to help her, but he doesn't speak any English. Her parents are there. Whitman's mom is there. Whitman's mom's maid is there.
Yeah.
And right
she starts having a freak out, and Whitman uses the fact that he drugged her as like, oh, don't worry, she's just crazy. She's like, she starts acting out, and she's like, oh, she's on the meds right now, and everyone's like, oh, on your wedding, how could you?
He doesn't say that until later. Actually, you missed the whole part about Walter.
Was that after Walter?
That was after Walter.
Dang, for some reason, I thought Walter was like very close to the end of the wedding reception thing.
It is.
Okay.
So,
anyways, the Walter bit's important. You gotta that.
Yeah, Walter bursts in with a gun, and he's sprinting
and runs in slow motion. Like
I also want to bring up that she got in the RV and she was 6 hours away from the church. She called Walter when they were in Mexico, which means she was at least 3 hours into that. So she was only 3 hours away when she called him. Walter then changed clothes, bought a gun, or had a gun, I guess, tied his shoes, and got onto a plane, and somehow found where they were, which obviously doesn't have an airport near it, all within 3 hours.
I mean, well, they got her family there, so got invite somehow. Oh.
Yeah, but the family left the day before on a cruise. I guess they might have made it there on a cruise, though.
I mean, not most of the way on the. A lot of that would have been. Well, I mean, a decent bit could have been on the cruise, but.
That's true.
It's also like a long drive, even after that.
That's true. They're just in the middle of nowhere, Mexico.
Anyway, I'm talking a bit about this scene. Classic movie scene. One character's in slow mo. No one else is. Like everyone's watching Walter burst into the church with the gun, and their like reactions are normal speed. But then Walter's just walking through Jello on his way down.
And then he steps on his untied shoes because this fucking guy can't even tie his shoes apparently.
Yep.
The gun goes flying and lands perfectly in Ellen's hand. That bugged me. If it landed in front of her and she picked it up, boom, I'd be cool with it. But the fact that she caught it, not
didn't she try to grab it?
She grabbed it out of the air, but still,
yeah,
it was dumb.
And then this is comedy.
And then she points it at Walter. And she's like,
this is the
Walter.
Scene, isn't it?
And then this is the point when he says, watch out, everybody. She's on pharmaceuticals.
She's on pharmaceuticals. And it was, which was kind of funny. On your wedding. Anyways, the girl points a gun at her.
Yeah, the little girl.
The little girl, I should say, because I keep forgetting.
I think her name was Nicole.
Nicole. Points a gun at her, like, put it down. It turns out the kids never had real guns, which I feel like is kind of a missed opportunity.
I agree.
It was really a water gun.
I thought it would.
I would have loved if like Woodman had just given them actual fucking guns. Like, here you go, kids.
Because that would have made. I mean, that's very on Whitman's brand. Because he's like, oh, they've got guns.
I mean, I guess it caught me off guard when it was a squirt, but I don't know. I feel like it would have been funnier if like it had misfired or something.
Yeah, I agree. She like clips her shoulder. Oh, Jesus Christ, Nicole! What the fuck,
Nicole,
dude?
Put it down. Or like
she just fucking.
And then like Nicole's like, beg for your life or something.
Nicole's like
that would have been awesome. Again, they should have just gone harder or just less hard. Like
I agree. They didn't commit to anything, and it made the movie lack a lot for me.
And they could have made it like a full-on horror if they had just made it like more reserved.
Yeah, that's true.
Or if they had gone harder and made it a comedy, but they chose neither and got neither.
So when Martha gets annoyed at the tapping of the foot of Whitman's mom, and she like shoots above her on accident because she's upset, and then the bullet like pings off 19 things and like someone's
Yeah,
hat
because that's what
somehow,
bullets do.
because that's what bullets do. And then
Right, right.
and then she hits the mom in the foot. You hear the mom go, "Oh,"
Oh! Yeah.
and then you never see the mom in the picture again. You never hear her.
She died.
She's never complaining that she got shot in the foot. I assume she's dead. I think the mom died. That's what I think. She's a murderer. So,
Uh, she points the gun back at Walter. Or Whitman. Fuck shit. Walt Whitman, come on. You gotta.
yeah, come on, dude.
I feel like I'm justified in mixing them up.
Yeah. So, gun goes off in her hand, and she says, I shot him.
Yeah, it cuts back to the Mexican prison.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I shot him.
Yeah. And
Just to watch him bleed.
And then they're like, we're going to put you away because you shot this innocent man. And then there's
This
Dodge
innocent
product
man.
placement on
And
the
also,
card.
you told us that whole story about the clowns and everything. I don't know why you included that. Just
You know, all those parts about Whitman being scary and breaking his finger? He sounds like a great guy.
why did you tell us about your date at the belly dancer restaurant?
Yeah, seriously, I don't
How
think
did that help your
pertained
narrative
to-
at all?
Why did you tell us about that time you bragged to your family that you had sex with some stranger?
Why did you describe the boot hitting the glass?
Why did you steal beer? We're going to arrest you for that too.
You memorized his whole poem?
That's awesome. We really don't give a shit about your work. Just tell us why you shot him. Yeah, so she gets they throw her in the back of an SUV, and then Walter pops up and drives off in the car, and he does a bad John Wayne impression. That also bugged me. He slashed the tires of the cops behind him. So this motherfucker who can't tie his shoes is like, yeah, I could definitely steal a cop car and slash their tires, but he can't tie his
Yeah. Like
fucking
at first,
shoes.
so they mentioned Bob helped him with it. And I thought they were implying like Bob was the one who thought of slashing the tires and everything because that was more believable than Walter doing it. But
That is
no,
more believable.
Bob's like way, way far away.
Yeah. He explains that he didn't shoot her because Inga was trying to snipe Martha from where the choir kids were, which apparently none of them thought to bring up that there was a random woman with a sniper rifle. Regardless.
Those are most churches.
That's true. It's a different country over there. Regardless, she tries shooting Martha, and then Martha like ducks, and Whitman comes forward at her, and so she shoots Whitman.
Mm.
They
say Whitman survived, even though I'm pretty sure the shot is like implied to have been fired straight at his head.
It
I
looked, at least it would have definitely hit him in the neck.
Yeah.
And it said he recovered like pretty soon. So it's like, what? Yeah. So
yeah. Like
Bob,
that definitely feels like originally he was supposed to die, and then like maybe they got an R rating or something, and like gotta bump down to PG-13, so we'll just change some dialogue or something.
Yeah, Bob's waiting in the middle of nowhere with a horse that he gives them so that they can ride off in the sunset, and then we get the updates where it tells us first things first is the guy didn't actually die, which is weird that she was gonna go to prison.
Yeah, you think the cops would have checked to see.
And there's no way that Whitman was going to press charges because he had moved on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was no update about Whitman's
throw
mom.
Her in jail, I guess.
Meaning Whitman's mom is for sure dead. So that's all I know. And then the nice thing is we do get to hear about. Well, first things first is Martha and Walter make it across the border without any trouble at all, and that's like their update is they made it safe across the border. And then they give us this full fucking background. Inga and Bob move to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and start up an exotic pet store. The movie was truly about Inga and Bob the whole time. It just was a secret movie. Yeah. So we've been talking for almost as long as the movie is. Okay, like half an hour less. Regardless, JJ, I think it's time that we give our ratings of what we think this movie got. Did you want
I
to?
mean, we know it got a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, yeah, yeah. But you personally, what do you think?
Um, I feel like 3 out of 10. There's some good material in there, and then like I said, there was one or two scenes that I genuinely enjoyed. But
Hmm.
but a lot of the good materials executed pretty poorly.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I like some parts in it. I do. I would give it probably like a if I did it out of 100 scale to do a percentage
Mm,
wise, I'd give it like a 27, 28.
mm,
You're right. Like it's not quite worth like a third of
yeah,
watchability. It was
it's basically a third of a movie.
it's like a fourth like watchable.
Yeah.
Less than that. So I'd give it like a 15, maybe 17%. If I'm rating against other box offices. This is not including like student films or anything. It's just
Mm.
a movie that came out in box office. It's easily a 15%, maybe
I mean,
10%.
for rating it on something that was had 19 million dollars of funding, I'd probably lower my score a bit.
Yeah, okay. And you can, but yeah,
Yeah.
I agree because it was like this is not what the budget went to at all. It it if it had been about Inga and if it had been about Bob, it had the potential of being like an Ace
Mhm.
Ventura style of movie, and I would
Yeah.
have liked it then. In comparison,
Yeah. And honestly, so like Ellen has the same type of panic throughout the entire movie, which is really good when she's like, being like kind of a salty person, chiding people for being just weird. But it doesn't
yeah,
really fit when it gets like insane as it does.
no, no, I don't think her and Bill Pullman did a good job at all. So
Yeah. I yeah, like they each have moments where what they're going for worked in, but they didn't really have like they basically chose one flat line and stayed at that the whole time.
yeah, I agree.
Which so like when that line intersects with how the plot's going, it's good. But other
Hmm.
than that,
Yeah, totally. Well, but that's just our opinion. We're two not film experts. We're just two
well,
people. I haven't done anything related to film in my life, so I have no credibility. But I watched this
I
one
have,
and it
but I
was
was
bad.
notoriously bad at it.
Well, there you go. So this is for sure not a fucking diamond in the rough. If you
Yeah,
have the time to go out and watch Mr. Wrong, do
don't.
not do it. Don't do it.
Like it's
Watch
not
YouTube
even funny
videos.
bad most of the
It
time.
would be better to watch a
Like
compilation of times Ellen scared people on her TV show than to watch this
yeah,
movie,
yeah.
which I would have given a higher rating if it had the same budget. I really would. Yeah. Be sure to, if you have any movies that you
I
think
heard
are
you like
worth.
clowns. Ellen, you didn't, and then just Bill Pullman on stilts walks out onto the stage.
Ellen, no, Ellen, no.
Ellen, stop!
His mouth is reverse. If you have any movies that you think you would want us to review and would be fun, please email us at pporpodcast@gmail.com. You can also email us at pleasepayOurRent@gmail.com. Uh, Diamond in the Rough is a Please Pay Our Rent studio subsidiary. It is a podcast from the network. So be sure to go check out all their stuff on Twitter at official PPOR. Also, we've got a Tumblr because someone said I wouldn't make a Tumblr, so I made a Tumblr, which is
Oh,
Please Pay Our Rent Studios. So follow us on
and
Tumblr and follow
and
us on
anything
Twitter.
the state of Rhode Island says about me is slander and a lie.
First thing first, everyone from Rhode Island on Tumblr who's dashing on me is wrong
Yeah,
and an asshole.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
kind of offended, and I feel like we need mods.
Yeah. So we will warn you we're not popular in Rhode Island, and we will never be popular in Rhode Island because they know what they did wrong, and we know
Yeah,
what we did wrong.
I
Anyway,
refuse to admit I did anything wrong.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I know this is a bit of a long one. It might be cut into two parts, so I hope that you enjoyed it and be sure to follow us on all those things. Just to carry us out, a little bit, give you a little snacky snack. JJ, what was your favorite part of the movie?
Definitely the John Wayne parody scene.
Yeah, with the ants and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Any specific quotes stand out to you? He does say
Hmm.
pilgrim, and that bugs
Oh,
me. I don't think that's funny at
um,
all.
I think my favorite quote is, "Are you sure you want to do this?" "No, Bob. I wanted to use the ants."
No, Bob, I wanted to use the ants. That's awesome. That's awesome. My
How about
favorite
you?
quote
Any?
for
Oh,
my favorite quote from this movie is Ellen tells her about him throwing the beer at the homeless man. She tells her friend at work, and
mhm.
her friend at work says, "So what?" She says, "The guy I'm dating likes monster trucks." And it was funny because of how bad of a line it was, not because it was meant to be funny.
Mhm.
So that was my favorite part, or favorite line. I think my favorite part was him beaming the old guy. The homeless guy was probably my favorite part. I just really enjoyed it. And that actor did a great performance. So
The homeless man getting beans.
the homeless man getting beamed.
Yeah, that wasn't
Anyway,
acted. That was just a homeless man.
no, not at all.
Bill Pullman was way too in character.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, "Oh shit, we'll edit it in post. We'll edit it in post." It was actually a child. It was a very young child. That's who it was. So anyway, 1, 2, 3. Don't kill yourself. Have a good day.